as the automotive industry landscape gets increasingly disruptive and innovative, the commercial vehicle segment also has to keep pace with all the developments happening in terms of the new approaches, preparing for new technologies. So, how are they doing it? Are they lagging far behind the passenger vehicle segment? And if yes, what are they doing to catch up and maybe keep pace in tune with the times? To tell us more about it, we have with us Dr. N. Saravanan, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Commercial Vehicle Major Ashok Leyland. Dr. Saravanan, thanks for talking to ET Auto.
Oh, pleasure. I
Tell
think
us in this, it seems that no, I mean, of course, the nature of the industry is such that passenger vehicles have to be much more agile and not be more in kind of fast paced. Commercial vehicles, because of application, the nature of the industry need not be so fast paced so far, but things are changing, isn't it?
it's changing definitely because I think uh, the one thing to understand about commercial vehicles always been very high mix, low volumes. You always have a lot more variants, lot more variety of products because one is because of application that's driven by that is used in. So they've always been like that. Now the challenge is to add to that you have multiple fuel technologies you add to the mix, which is not necessarily happening in a homogeneous way. It's not like all trucks are moving towards EVs. There'll be certain applications moving towards EVs. Some may be hydrogen, some may be LNG, and so on. So that is the making it much more complex. Then you have got technologies like ADAS, which actually, even though one can argue, I can pick it up from PVs and apply it. It's a slightly different ballgame in terms of what
The technology fundamentally may be the
fundamentally the
same, but the
same
use case and
use case
application
will
are
be
totally
absolutely,
different, right?
absolutely. So therefore the challenge is actually because of the shift happening. Shift is not happening in a homogeneous manner. It's happening. Different applications require different shifts. That's what makes it very complex from a transition for the commercial vehicle compared to passenger vehicle.
So to address that challenge, what routes, what approaches are you taking and are going to take in the near future?
I think the challenge for any OEM, particularly for commercial vehicle, is the fact that they need to continue to work on the traditional diesel. It's not going away tomorrow. It may go sometime, but I think so. Therefore, there's a demand from customer in terms of improving efficiency, improving reliability. That there needs to be a core commitment and funding investments in diesel that has to happen. In addition, imagine the OEM having to spend on battery technologies, motor, power electronics, hydrogen tanks, hydrogen IC, hydrogen fuel cell. It just goes on and on. I think from even from a simple, even the largest OEMs, you find it difficult to invest equally all technologies. One way to mitigate that is to work with partners. Yeah, some can be large partners, some can also be smaller ecosystem partners, startups, particularly in technologies where it is level playing field at this point. It's not like diesel engines where some suppliers, some OEMs had dominance. Technologies like motors and battery packs, you're seeing a lot of innovation happening even in small startups. So the OEMs start looking and saying, can I partner with startups in terms of battery pack technology, charging technology? So that's one approach. Second challenge is even skill availability. Even if the OEM wants to hire everybody in all technology, it's not possible. So therefore, you almost have no choice but to work with different partners, even from a skill perspective. Yeah. So these two sort of third, of course, is risk sort of appetite. Right. You cannot develop even for technology to develop. You need to look at multiple options for technology, and you just can't do that. So I think all these points to the fact that we need to be faster in the market because the expectations are changing, and there are multiple technologies that need to be implemented. Skill shortage and the ability to invest, there's no choice but to work with partners. And therefore, the partnership model has to get stronger. Yeah?
So in which, from what you're saying, so basically in the areas of electrification and maybe ADAS or autonomous driving, these are the two areas where you would look at collaboration, because from what you have already done, I mean, AI drivers and then minus zero, these are both autonomous driving technology. So taking that as a cue, do I also understand that Ashok Leyland is focusing very strongly on the autonomous driving megatrend?
I think I can. Yes, we are focusing, but the challenge, as everybody knows, is nobody knows when it'll be accepted by
Mainstream.
the customer, mainstream
Yeah.
technology. But doesn't mean we should not work on it. So the way we are approaching the problem is who are some good partners we can work with? What different technologies that they have? Can we work with them to sort of at least pilot these technologies, learn from them, and when it goes mainstream, we have at least something in our portfolio that can be implemented fast, and that's the approach. Yeah.
Are any such partnerships, collaborations in the pipeline?
No, I think yeah, it's. I mean, I can't disclose what's in the pipeline, but I think you'll start seeing. You're right. The areas where you start seeing such collaborations would be in the BEV battery electric space, maybe in the hydrogen space, and so on. More in the new energy space than in the existing powertrain. Is what I would say.
Talking about existing powertrain, LNG is seen as the next big thing, at least in the transition period for no, for in terms of fuel technology. So, how bullish are you in for LNG?
I think it's a very difficult question because it depends so much on the ecosystem and the pricing. While there is some stability in pricing, the ecosystem itself is uncertain at this point. While it makes sense for uh, if the availability of fuel is there, it seems to start making sense. But I think it's still a lot of uncertainties around it in terms of, for example, if you buy a LNG vehicle, well, not just availability of fuel, what is the resale value, what is the long term profitability depending on the pricing of the LNG and so on. Yes, there will be pockets where it will come. Will it replace diesel? I am not convinced yet, because even from every stakeholder perspective, even from government perspective, you or from a company that is setting up fuel stations, you have diesel, petrol fuel stations, you have CNG, LNG. Then at some point you will say I had to put charging infra. At some point you have to say I had to put you know uh, hydrogen stations. That's from a stakeholder. From a customer perspective, he has a fleet of diesel. Now he buys LNG. Now you can argue there is some synergy in some of the component, but still different set of challenges in terms of even fueling, maintenance practices, driving practices. I think so. It is not that easy a problem. Maybe for a fresh guy, fleet starting out, he can buy LNG. But when things get mixed up, it's a challenge for everybody.
Quite complex.
Complex. Yeah.
Lastly, this transition, I mean, shift may be a little stronger word, the transition from diesel to other alternate fuels uh, seems to have taken very baby steps, if one may call it, with these developments. But how long do you think a time period before, let's say, diesel's dominance in the trucking industry comes down to maybe, let's say, 50% or so?
Difficult to say because the challenge is when somebody's sitting now and trying to imagine, we always think linearly. We say if this happened, this happened, this happened, that happened. But I think therefore we are not therefore accounting for sort of disruptive changes. If that happens, 50% could be what in 10 years, right? I mean, so it depends on a combination of technology disruption, which we cannot anticipate because when the whole world works on a problem, breakthroughs come very easily. Yeah. So you cannot compare and say, oh, it only went this way, technology only improved this way in the last 10 years, it'll improve the same way. It doesn't happen.
So you cannot extrapolate from that.
Extrapolate that. So I think, so therefore, it is entirely possible, 10-year window you could see, assuming breakthroughs happen, which I don't know what it is. So therefore, you have to be prepared for it. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what it is, 10 years or 5 years or 20 years. But I think, I would not venture into forecasting and saying it will only happen in 15 years because that's sort of a extrapolation based on what the past. But I think that's always
So
been
you're saying
proven
that
wrong.
if there are disruptions, I mean, a favorable disruption take place, 10 years is a
10 years is
possible.
a yeah possibility. Yes, right.
On that note, Dr. Saravanan,
All right.
good talking to you as
Pleasure.
always. Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.